You're listening to the LSG Sports Network, the authority on Texas high school football. Welcome to the Texas High School Football Coaches Show on Lone Star Gridiron. I'm Chris Daly, and it's my belief that the men that make up the fraternity of Texas high school football coaches are much more than a bunch of thick-necked guys with whistles. They do so much more than teach technique and the X's and O's of football. They take young boys and change them into young men of character. They get kids to believe in themselves, to trust others, and to put others ahead of themselves. Texas high school football coaches are unique in how they impact the lives of these athletes as well as the generations those kids touch. In this show, I sit down with a different Texas high school football coach each time and learn about them. Not their record, not their on-field accomplishments, but who they are and what they believe and what it means to be part of the greatest sport in the greatest state. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Lone Star Gridiron Texas High School Football Coaches Show. I'm your host, Chris Daly, and this is Season 6, Episode 12. Today we're going to talk to a Texas native who started coaching in Oklahoma but found his way back. I will introduce you to David Snokhous right after this. Hey, if you're involved in your team's fundraising, get this. I was recently introduced to Success Fund, and I was blown away by what it can do. If you're not already using Success Fund to manage your fundraising, you'll really want to check this out. SuccessFund.com. That's Success, F-U-N-D.com. It's not a specific fundraiser, no. Now, Success Fund is a platform with free tools that makes it easy to run whatever fundraiser you're already planning. Sponsorships, donations, camps, clinics, whatever it is. Success Fund makes it 10 times easier. Plus, schools use it to accept Venmo, which is otherwise not an option. Because so many thousands of fundraisers have been through their system, these guys know what works and what doesn't. And they just put out a free high school football fundraising guide. Yeah, you can go and download the guide for free at successfund.com/football. It takes 2 seconds to grab it. Again, you want to be sure to check these guys out. But at the very least, go grab this free football fundraising guide at successfund.com/football. All right, everybody, join me in welcoming Coach David Snokhous to the show. Coach, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing wonderful. I get to talk Texas high school football. What could be better, right?
You're right. You're right.
So before I get into your career, tell me where you grew up and how you learned about the game of football.
I grew up in West Texas, Texas by Waco. And I guess most people recognize it now that on the explosion of the fertilizer plant that happened years back. So I'm from around Central Texas. Played high school ball for Daryl Carlisle. Him and, I guess, God bless both their souls, him and DJ Krennick. When I was in high school, I played quarterback and I was an office aide for him. And, I don't know. I just fell in love with the game, and I think I knew very early what I wanted to do. And,
even while you were in high school?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, yes. I wanted to be a coach. Just one of them things that hit you, and I was fortunate enough to pursue it, and here I am today.
Nice. And so, talk to me about how did the team do when you were there?
We were pretty good. I think we got beat we made the playoffs 2 of the 3 years. I started 3 years. My sophomore year, Roosevelt Lot beat us 60-0 in the second game. And then we played them in the first round of the playoffs. And we beat them on penetrations. And that tells you how far back I go.
Well, I tell you, the fact that you only made the playoffs twice, these days everybody makes the playoffs.
Yeah, you're right. But we that was oh gosh, what was it, 72 or something like that? And
nice.
Yes, we beat them on penetrations 3-1. It was 7-7, and beat them on penetrations. And then my senior year, we went undefeated, and we got beat by Cameron in an ice storm, 7-6, and I missed a field goal to win it, and I still, no one will argue. I don't know if they might argue with me, but the ball was not, when they placed it on the tee, it wasn't upright. It was flat. So, but I was always taught you got to kick it, so I kicked it. But
geez, that's tough. I've talked to a lot of coaches, and one of the toughest things to do is run through your regular season undefeated and then lose quickly in the playoffs.
Right. I mean, it's just, like you said back then, it might have been just one of us that went, maybe two. I don't remember.
I think that was one, because even when I went in the 80s, it was one.
Yeah, and when I was my sophomore year, we won it on a coin flip. There was three of us that tied, and we won the coin flip. I can still remember me and another guy drove to the Elite Cafe where they were doing the flips, sitting in the parking lot waiting on them. Because obviously we didn't have any ways of communicating like we do nowadays.
Right.
But
all right, so then you went off to college. And where'd you go to college? Did you continue to play or just study?
Yes, I went to Navarro Junior College for 2 years. We won the Texas Junior College Championship my sophomore year there.
Nice.
After that, I went to Cameron University in Lawton, Oklahoma. I graduated there, and we were I think at that time it was the Lone Star Conference.
Right.
We were the ones that, and again, we came to play Southwest Texas, and for some reason we didn't play because the officials didn't show up. That was a big hoopla back then, but it was a good career. We didn't make the playoffs. I think we finished second both years. So,
if you could, talk to me about how you got into coaching then.
Well, I was a senior, and I was in Lawton, Oklahoma, and my offensive coordinator got the head job at Lawton High School. Mm-hmm. So he called me. Well, he didn't call me. He just told me, he said, "You want a job?" I said, "Sure." And I had all intentions of coming back and going to work in Texas right away. But, that happened. I stayed there for, 4 years? Mm-hmm. Then I left there and went to Moore, Oklahoma. I was assistant for 2 years. Or I stayed in Lawton for 1, 2, maybe 3.
Right.
2 or 3, I don't even remember anymore. And then I went to Moore, Oklahoma for a couple of years, and I became the head coach at Moore, Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. Stayed there for, 14 years, 10, 12 years, something like that. Then I came back, got a job in, always wanted to coach in Texas, and I took a job at North Mesquite and got a $3,000 pay raise being an assistant. So
nice.
Stayed at North Mesquite for what? 4.5. Got this job in '97, and I've been here ever since.
Sweet. If you could pull out some of the coaches that were mentors or things that you learned from them too.
Well, I worked for Daryl Arslager in Lawton, Oklahoma. He was pretty meticulous. Mm-hmm. Very detailed, very demanding. A great guy. We had a lot of fun. Then I went and worked in Moore, Oklahoma, who I consider my second dad, Ray Goldsby. We had a great career there. I mean, I stayed there for 10 years. We got beat in the semifinals, got beat in the state championship game. And he was one that he said, there's 100 different ways to skin a cat.
Mm-hmm.
And he also said, don't forget to sit back and smell the flowers. Mm-hmm. At that time, I really didn't know what he was talking about, but after you've been in this thing for 40 years, you realize that that's probably one of the better things I learned, and I appreciate that statement more now than I did earlier because,
sure,
you know, and I think a lot of young coaches today are the same way. And I think the more you put into this, the longer you've been in it, you realize that. And don't get me wrong, I love being a football coach, but
mm-hmm.
you know, you got to sit back, relax, and enjoy. Winning a football game is hard,
right?
And at that time, I didn't know what he was talking about, but today I do. And then I came to North Mesquite and Mark Elam. I worked for Mark Elam, and great guy, good football coach, hard worker, very demanding, very intent person.
Mm-hmm.
I probably did with him as far as being able to go out and talk with other people. He was, you know, being in the metro area was DFW Metro got to meet a lot of good people. You know, we were wing
mm-hmm.
T people back then. Mike Varda, Ed Hickman, Joe Martin. You know, coached against Joe when he was at Garland. You know, I got a lot of respect for all those guys. You know, I know Mike's not with us any longer. I don't know what. I think Ed's retired, and obviously Joe's running the association. And wow,
right.
What a great guy, damn good football coach,
nice.
and just a damn good person, really is. Then I came down here and wow. I don't even know if I knew what I was doing when I got here. But I followed the guy, Rudy Phillips, who was,
mm-hmm.
when I was in high school, coached at McGregor, and West and McGregor were a big rival. And that was kind of unique and funny. I mean, when I did take the job here, I did talk to him. He went to take another job in this district, and we reminisced about the good old days. Of course, I was a young pup then. I didn't even know what I was still doing. But like I said, it's been a great ride. You know, I've been here for 27 years. I've had some good coaches, good principals, good ADs, great community work. So it's been fun, and I've had a supporting wife. So
that's important.
Yeah.
Nice. If you could, what's a story that comes to mind when somebody asks you what you love about coaching Texas high school football? When all things are equal between coaches and players and situations, what is the big difference in a winning program and a losing program? Well, I tell you, I think a big factor is the information you have available as a coach. And our sponsor, Optimum Grading, can do so much to help you have that information. They provide a comprehensive, fully customizable web application designed from a coach's perspective to analyze the players based on what the coach is teaching. By default, players are evaluated from their alignment, assignment, technique, effort, and production result. And through reports, a coach can understand where the player is exceeding and where he is struggling. But as I talked with the founder, what I discovered was what makes this system different than any other tracking system is that it is so customizable. You can decide what's important to you, and you only have to track those factors that you find important. This powerful platform integrates play data with the coach's input on every single play and ultimately allows the coach to run detailed reports to uncover how the players are performing overall and in situational football. It's really good stuff. Check it out, OptimumGrading.com. I tell you, this is a tool that will separate winners from losers. What's a story that comes to mind when somebody asks you what you love about coaching Texas high school football?
I love the kids. I love the commitment that they have to make.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because if you're going to be a high school football player and being a good one, and that doesn't mean that everybody's got to be a D1 type athlete, but you got to have a commitment and a work ethic. And you do get a love for the game. It's like I said, I've driven down 290 for 27 years. And there hadn't been a day that's gone by that I've asked myself or questioned myself, why am I doing this? I love being a football coach. And it's the relationship with the kids and obviously the relationship with the coaches. I mean, it's you can't describe it. I mean,
right.
I got to live being a football coach. What else could a man ask for?
I love that. I love that. And talk about some of those players. You've coached long enough that these kids are now grown men and have families. Talk about some of those relationships.
Well, I mean, number one is Selvin Young. Went to the University of Texas, won a national championship with Vince Young. When Selvin grew up, he didn't have a lot. Great kid, great athlete, great attitude. Went to UT. His dad was a AC air conditioning guy. He learned from him, and now he builds food trucks plus whatever thing else. I mean, the kid has been very successful. And he learned all this traits from his dad. Mm-hmm. When you're growing up and watching those kids, you don't realize that until, like you said, now that they've turned out to be successful young men. Another one, Matt Russell. He played quarterback for me back in 2000. We were playing Klein. I can remember this. Selling some running back. It's 4th and 1 from the 1. Well, the down marker still says 3rd and 1. Matt takes the ball and spikes it, and everybody's hollering at him.
Oh.
Yeah. And Klein goes on and gets to the state semifinals, and that's the closest game they had was with us.
Wow.
And we're great friends today. Matt lost his dad when he was a junior after our semifinal game. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, and he's told me this, and me and our baseball coach at the time, Mike Maddox, who's no longer with us, but he's told us that we were pretty influential with him as far as, taking over and helping him when he lost his dad. So, God, there's I don't know, I could go on some of these kids, but those two were really good. Nick Stavinoa played linebacker for us, and he could walk down the halls of Jersey Village High School and people would move, and he wasn't that type of kid. Just the respect that he had from everybody. He ended up going to play at U of H, ended up going to play LSG, and played some pro baseball. Just another great guy. Danny Robertson, my first game here, we're playing in Huntsville. Mm-hmm. It's the first series, we have to punt. And we're on like our 30, 35-yard line. And I have a signal if we're going to fake it. But I don't give him no signal.
No.
He fakes the first punt of my career in Texas high school football. Long story short, ends up being a touchdown pass. And people are probably thinking, oh, my God, what is this guy? Wow, he's crazy. If you're going to go for it on your own 30, 35-yard line on the first series, and it was, I see him today, we're on him at the barbecue cook-off here, and we laugh about that all the time.
Yeah.
And at the time, it wasn't real funny, but it worked. So,
yeah.
But, I don't know, I could go on and on. There's been a lot of great kids. It's been a lot of fun.
Nice. Yeah, if you could talk about the importance of the community that you're in and the support that they have to give you for a program to succeed.
Well, here's the thing. People have always asked me, though, they're amazed about what we do and how our community supports us.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're no different than anybody else. We do fundraisers and that, and, this community expects us to hold a certain standard, and we do. And it's like I told somebody, Ed Working came in here, 10 years ago to be our new AD. And we're sitting around one day, he's just come in the office just trying to get to know everybody. And he goes, Coach, and our demographics have changed like everybody's, but he goes,
yeah.
Do y'all do this? I said, Ed, I said, Coach Working, I said, we could sell toothpicks and this community would buy them. That's how much support they have for us. And it's amazing. A lot of I'm good friends with a lot of them. Obviously, for a while, as long as I have. But again, they care about their school. They care about their kids. They're very, like I said, they're very supportive. And all they ask is just make sure you do what's right.
Yeah.
And treat people right. And in return, they'll take care of us. And they have.
I love that. And talk about coaches. A lot of coaches I've talked to over the last 2 decades or so, their best friends are other coaches. Talk about that brotherhood.
It's unique. You spend so much time here. It's like my wife. She's getting ready to retire from being a principal, a high school principal. Well, somebody asked me, when are you going to retire? I said, well, crap, I can't retire. We've never been together or been around each other middle of July to December. I said, crap, it might not work. And she'll be the first one to tell you that. And back to what you were asking, it's you're here with these guys, and now it's gotten to where it's darn near 365 days a year.
Yeah.
And you build that bond and that relationship and that trust and that love. It's a family deal. It's like in the summer now, my daughters were raised here. And half the time I didn't know where they were at. But they were here somewhere, and I've always had an open door policy. You can bring your kids in the summer. Just as long as they don't get in our way, that's fine. And, of course, when you're out there and your daughter wants to walk out on the field and ask you, Daddy, can I go to the bathroom? Well, okay, yeah, but honey, you can do that. But that's the unique thing, the bond that you build. When you work together day in, day out, you're putting in 12, 14, 16-hour days. And then, you work your rear off to win a football game, and you might have a little get-together afterwards to enjoy it for, a couple hours, and then it starts all over the next morning. And then watching all these coaches grow, it's amazing. Wow.
Nice.
Words can't describe it. You have to live. Like I said, I've had the opportunity to live it, of being a football coach. A lot of people love the game. I lived. I love it, and I lived it. And
awesome.
That's why I'm still doing it. Your gut will tell you when it's time to go. Mm-hmm. And knock on wood, we've been pretty successful lately. We went through a drought, but when you're in a district big as big as ours, and you went from 6 schools to 12, when there's kids from you, you just don't recover that in a year or two. It's a 6-7 year process, and everything goes in cycles. Yeah, learned a lot about that. So, in
your years, I assume you've worked with several young coaches that they come out of college and they instantly want to be a head coach at a 6A school. How do you get them to kind of rein that in a little bit?
Oh, it's funny you ask that because, you talk to some of these guys, to other head coaches, and, you ask about him, blah, 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 and all that, and they all say, well, hell, they all want to be a head coach.
Yeah.
They do the offense. They're all wanting the title.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that being disrespectful. I mean, we all want titles, but the one thing about football and being a football coach is you got to earn it.
Yep.
It's no different than you coaching those kids. Oh, I want to be the starting quarterback. Well, you got to earn it. If you're the best, you'll play. And honestly, that's the same with being a coach. I think, in society today, it's changed. Everybody wants it right now.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, being a football coach, you got to have a work ethic. You got to pay your dues.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I learn something every day.
Yeah.
In most cases, they all, you got to get to the point where, when you interview someone and talk to them, this is what I expect. This is how it's going to be. You got to, it's a process. I know everybody hears Nick Saban in the process. Well, being a high school coach or any type of coach, there's a process of getting to where you want to get. And again,
right.
There's nothing wrong starting at the bottom and working your way up. Might take a little longer, but you'll appreciate it more once you get to where you're at or you want to be at.
Yeah, definitely. And then finally, what about threats to our game? There's a lot of people, mainly from other states, who are against the game, and you see challenges even in our own state wanting to change the ability to transfer schools. What do you see as the biggest threats?
Texas high school football doesn't get any better.
Amen.
It's like I tell my kids, when you grow old, you can tell your grandchild or your kid that I played the best football in the world, and that's Texas high school football. And not many people can say that.
Right.
And it was built on the principles of hard work, a great work ethic, discipline, and you've earned it. And, we built this reputation as Texas high school coaches with what I just said, but with the support of people buying in and believing the same thing that we do.
Right.
And the scary thing right now, I mean, look at college football. I love college football.
Yeah.
College football is semi-pro football now. Let's face it. Do I watch pro ball? Yes, but if I have no choice, it'll obviously be college. And here we are with the NIL and the portal. What kids don't realize is, the schools are making money, but that's no different than working for a guy who owns his own business and he's paying you. You're getting paid by having a great, by getting a 4-year degree. Obviously, it's a lot better now what they give you than what they gave us. I mean, you got a 4-year degree. You get to see the world. You get to play unbelievable places. This, that, and another. And now that you want to be paid money to play the game, they got to cap it.
Yeah.
From a college standpoint, from a high school standpoint, you'll run it. That's not what it's about. This is high school football. I mean, transferring. What are we teaching a kid?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not trying to get on the old bandwagon and be some old school guy, but to be successful in life, you got to be disciplined. You got to have a work ethic. You got to have a commitment. I mean, regardless of what you do, look at the people that have been successful. Most cases, they've all worked their butt off. They started at the bottom, and they did what it took to get there. Giving you because you get mad at Coach Snokhous, I want to go over here and play here. Well, I got one choice. That's not. What are we teaching them?
Yeah.
So like I said, I don't want to get on my soapbox about it, but leave them alone. Leave high school football. It's today. It's the best. Texas high school football doesn't get any better.
I agree. I call it the greatest sport in the greatest state, and
you're right. You're right.
We're totally in agreement there.
No, you're right. You're right. You said Jason Holman gave you my name.
Yeah.
I hired Jason Scott. He was in a middle school. Neil Quilling. It was at Kingwood. I called him or Humble High School. I can't remember which one. I don't know if you know Coach Quillen. He had real coach. I got this old boy. I know his mom and his daddy. And I hired Jason, and I can honestly say this, and I've said it 100 times. And I've hired a lot of great coaches, good coaches. He's the best one I've ever hired. He was a young kid who had all the traits that I just said. He loved the game. He was very disciplined. He's methodical about how game planning. And I promise you today, even with the change in technology, he probably doesn't change from the way he did it back then. But just a great guy, great family man. I appreciate him giving me my name. There's a lot of them, but he's one of those that just, one day when I do retire, I'm just going to show up at all their games and just say hi and watch them. So, greatest game in the greatest state, like you said. It's amazing. So,
most definitely. Well, Coach David Snokhous, guys, I want to thank you so much for sitting down with me and sharing some of your story. It's been inspiring.
Well, thank you, Chris. I appreciate it.
Did you play Texas high school football? If you did, you're part of an elite group, the Brotherhood of Texas High School Football. All football players, past and present, who have ever suited up in the Lone Star State are eligible. Go to LoneStarGridiron.com/brotherhood. And thank you for the part you played in the greatest sport in the greatest state.
Until next time, I'm Chris Daly, and we'll see you at the game.